Good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. And it is that way because we've got people all over the world here today in this conversation. It's our fourth out of 5 events for the Global Chamber Global Innovation and Excellence Awards for 2023. And I got to say, the first 3 have been unbelievable. And looking at this group, this one I think is going to exceed of that last several ones that just, you're all extraordinary. And it's really hard, and it was hard for us to select 50 plus leaders out of all of the thousands of members of Global Chamber, because it's true that all members of Global Chamber are extraordinary. And so picking just 50, and we couldn't even pick 50. That was our goal. We had to go a little bit over to be able to really feel comfortable with ourselves. And we still would love to include everybody, so thank you for being really extraordinary, extra extraordinary, because look, it's important to do global business. The more we do global business, the better the world is. Look at the world and all the challenges we have. They almost all can be solved by you, the global tribe, and you are solving them. So thank you. My partner in crime today is Dana Austin, the Global Chamber Executive Director for Atlanta. Dana, would you like to make some opening comments before we start?
Bienvenido a todos que está aquí. And we want to welcome each and every one of you. And as Doug has already said, this group I know is going to be on fire because the energy started before. And we want to recognize everyone being here because you are excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have about a dozen awardees in the room. So that means basically for us to finish in an hour, we're going to give a short introduction, and we'd ask you to do about 3 minutes. And then Dana typically has some questions or comments and things along the way. And because we have a full house, we'll likely kind of skip a few people, and then Dana will jump in every few people, just so that we can finish up close to the top of the hour. I'd like to start, Dana, if you don't mind, with James Jim Huang of EXP Commercial. And James is, as all of you are, extraordinary, and his expertise is in real estate and commercial real estate. I had the great fortune to experience a virtual event, a meta event, in the metasphere that James put on for training his people around the world. One of the things that's become clear through the time I've known him, he's in Southern California, is that he thinks outside the box. There's no suppressing him. He is like a ball of energy, and he's changing the world from Southern California, literally, in the commercial real estate business. So James, thank you for being a member of Global Chamber. Thank you for your collaboration. Thank you for being on the advisory board for Global Chamber Los Angeles. Thanks for all you do. You're revolutionizing the world. Would you like to say a few things about what you're doing globally?
Well, Doug, thank you so much. And Global Chamber, thank you. And thank you, Tribe, right? This is how we do it all around the world. And it was really exciting when I came over here, because I did start the company in 2019 when we were negotiating, and we all knew what happened in 2020. And then that's when we all had to pivot, right? We all had to work, find another way to work. And coming over to EXP, looking at all the models, being 25 years in the business, I realized, there was a better way. There was a way to use technology. And our company started the metaverse before Facebook changes to Meta. We were already collaborating, working in a virtual environment with avatars walking around. So it wasn't linear a lot of times, like the way Zoom and other applications work, but you could have breakout rooms. You could have walking around our entire campus, which I always invite everyone to come by. Doug, next time we have a symposium, love to invite our whole tribe to our metaverse to see and share. And Doug, if you don't mind too, give you a breakout panel for our Global Chamber tribe so you could see what the metaverse is like. And it is so powerful building on this platform, because with it, we were the fastest growing residential, coming over now with the fastest growing commercial. And right now, with the interest rate rising and a lot of changes and efficiencies that need to be adopted, we have been doing very well actually growing our company because of our cost, our collaboration, and we've grown in 23 different countries using this platform. So I'd love to share it with everyone, and I will send an invite to be our guest, to come and visit our virtual world, our metaverse, and also seeing how you could collaborate, network, really, and learn from everyone. But it is an honor to receive the award. It's an honor to be, Doug, part of the Global Chamber tribe with everyone, and I do look forward to working with everyone around the world. Thank you.
You're always a ball of energy and you're moving. And like if you follow EXP Commercial on LinkedIn, you'll see just action. There's people doing things. And James, you're leading that, and your energy is contagious. Thank you in a good way. Thank you so much for all that you do. And we love you. Congratulations. There's a little bit of a Southern California bent, Dana, to the conversation today. And part of that is also Dr. Sarita Jackson. She is an entrepreneur herself, and she helps small and medium-sized companies get to foreign markets. As you'll see, and you probably already know Dr. Jackson, she's amazing.
She's amazing.
With grit. And she has grit, and she's so smart, and she's so knowledgeable about global business. She imparts knowledge for her clients to be able to reach these foreign markets. So Dr. Jackson, thank you for being on our advisory board in Los Angeles. Thank you for all that you do to help people reach these foreign markets. What would you like to say about grit and the work that you're doing internationally? Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much, Doug. I'm just so honored to receive this Innovation and Excellence Award with the Global Chamber. And thank you so much, Dana, for moderating as well. And so just to give a little bit of background, what is so interesting about today particularly is because GRIT, the Global Research Institute of International Trade, started as a research institute in April of 2013. April 10th to be exact. So we're just a few days shy of that. 10 years ago, I started this, but at the same time, I had actually left a career as a political science professor looking at international trade from a policy perspective and understanding trade negotiations and their impact on the business communities and domestic economies. And at that time, I had just received tenure, was promoted, but I still had this passion to take all of this training and knowledge from the academic realm and bringing it to a broader community, the business and the policy communities. And so, as Doug mentioned, the whole focus with the Global Research Institute of International Trade is to help businesses find and expand the right market for their product or service. And it also aligns with the firm, and then also examining policies and turning that into practical insight for those organizations engaged in global transactions. And of course, those are the businesses. And so, as I mentioned, turning this academic training into value for the larger community, the business and policy communities are what drive me every day, as opposed to just publishing and providing all of the theory, and that's for the academic community, but something that has a practical impact in watching firms from all around the world exporting to the United States and US firms expanding to other markets. And so as far as the value for many of the clients with which I've worked, it saves them the time, the energy, the money that trying to collect all of this information and data that may or may not necessarily be useful to them, and taking all of that data, this is where the research comes in, taking a lot of that information, analyzing trade statistics, looking at policies, and making that information make sense for that particular firm. And when I say make sense, looking at their resources, their capabilities, their capacity, and their product or service. So that's the value that I provide for many of the clients, and then creating a roadmap so that we can connect globally. And just the last thing that I would just like to say, the 3 lessons that I've learned over the past 10 years is slow and steady. So during the Q&A, Dana, if you want me to elaborate on that, but just to state the points, slow and steady. So leads to consistency, quality collaboration, and thought diversity with the people that are part of that collaborative network. And so that has resulted in audience growth, profit, doing business, dealing with Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, but more importantly, providing a service that is of value to the business community and that is bringing that global business network together. Thank you so much.
You are awesome. Congratulations. I love working with you. Thank you for your support and collaboration. Dana, what I'd really like to do, especially considering we might have 2 people that are very late at night because they're in Asia, I'd like to go to both of them and then go to Alfredo Molina and then have kind of a wrap up of the first 5 speakers. And
I'm gonna sit on my hands, but I'll hold up Dr. Jackson's book here and I'll talk about it shortly.
Fantastic. That's awesome. I'm wondering if we could first go to Shinichiro Suzuki-san. One of the things when he joined Global Chamber, we realized is we lived in Detroit at the same time. So I was an American who had just come back from Japan on an expat assignment, and I was about to go on an expat assignment to Singapore, and was a Japanese expat in Detroit. And there's this one Japanese restaurant near 14 Mile, and I forget the cross street, Nipponkai, that we undoubtedly probably been together, like we saw each other. This was years ago, but here we are, we reconnected. He's a member of Global Chamber, and not only a member, but what he does in his business and what's so exciting is he helps companies, American companies and European companies primarily, but anyone be successful in Japan. His connections in Japan are extraordinary. And so his company has been doing it for decades, and he himself has been very involved in it decades as well. Suzuki-san, you are an extraordinary leader. Thank you for helping people cross the border into Japan, cross over the ocean, and cross over the world. And you're also our board chair for the Global Chamber Tokyo chapter. So congratulations on the Global Innovation and Excellence Award for many decades of outstanding work, and we really appreciate you. What would you like to say for your business and for yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I have been really enjoying being a member of the Global Chamber. It's so great. Other than almost nothing. So once again, I have been doing this business since my father started his own company since back in 58 years ago. He was in New York in late 1950s. So I think he was living in New York in 1957 to 1963 or something. So about almost 60 years ago. After he graduated with an MBA course of Columbia University, he started working for Dr. Watson. At that time, he was probably president of IBM, and he got the offer from Dr. Watson. He was going to establish his own company, which is now IBM Japan. But for some reason, my dad didn't take it because he wanted to establish his own companies, and he did it. So I took over one of his companies. So here I am, and I really enjoy helping overseas firms, Europeans or North Americans who wanted to succeed here in Japan. And I recently do, vice versa. Any Japanese companies who wanted to go overseas, especially to the United States, Dag-san, it's such an honor to work with you. It's been great. Thanks a lot.
You're amazing. And I didn't know about the connection to IBM. My dad worked for IBM, and I actually went to the Thomas J. Watson Elementary School. That's how IBM, the town that I grew up in, was. So you're extraordinary. Thank you for such first of all, kind words and continued success. Thank you, Suzuki-san. The other Asia connection, and I'm not sure, Mr. Kim, if you're in DC today or in Korea, but I know Woo-sub Lee might be traveling, so I just wanted to make sure that if it was really late there in Korea, that you guys get to speak next. KIC, or the Korea Innovation Center, is located in Washington, D.C., and they do an extraordinary job with bringing early stage Korean companies to the U.S. market. There are about 100, and I've heard 80 to 100, but please correct me with the right number. But we've been working with KIC for several years and supporting their success and supporting the success of these Korean companies that are crossing the Pacific, becoming successful in the US, and through very innovative techniques and providing them the resources they need to succeed, building cross-border business. So Mr. Lee, and Mr. Young, thank you for your leadership, or Mr. Kim and Mr. Lee, thank you for your leadership, and congratulations to the Korea Innovation Center for outstanding international work. What would you like to say about KIC, please?
Thank you, Doug. Usop and I came back from the business trip from Korea last week, and yeah, it was hard work, but yeah, we are safely in DC right now. And nice to meet you all today. My name is Yong Kim, Director of KH Washington, DC. And I'm deeply honored and humbled to accept the 2020 Global Innovation and Excellence Award on behalf of KH Washington, DC. As the organization dedicated to fostering global innovation and excellence, the Global Chamber has been always a long-time partner for us, and to receive this award from such a prestigious organization is truly a remarkable achievement for us. And I would really want to thank you, all entire Global Chamber team, including CEO Mr. Doug Bunk and Executive Director Ms. Mi-jung Hibit here for recognizing our efforts. And KIC, as Doug introduced, we are a startup accelerator founded by Ministry of Science and ICT in Korea. And we have been tirelessly working to create a global tech startup platform, empowering founders and innovators by providing multiple layers of the startup accelerating program for young entrepreneurs since 2014. And our work spans across various sectors and regions, including IT, healthcare, biotech, cybersecurity, and more. And we also build a bridge between cultures and communities, recognizing that diversity and inclusion are key drivers of innovation and excellence. So KI's Tech Summit we hosted last year is one of our good examples. Throughout the event we hosted last year, we were able to connect the young tech startup founders with various stakeholders in the stage to showcase their cutting edge technologies and explore opportunities to collaborate each other. If you missed the opportunity to attend last year, please don't be disappointed, because we're gonna come back this year, and I would recommend you come enjoy the Tech Summit in upcoming November, happening in DC. The event will be filled with more fun factors and meaningful a lot of component than last year, I believe. Also, I want to take this opportunity to thank the incredible team at KIC Washington, DC, whose hard work and dedication have made this award possible. So I also want to thank you, our partners, supporters, and the other people who have contributed our success. So our mission is not just our own. I want to encourage everyone here to get involved in our work, whether you're entrepreneur, investors, partners, or simply just someone who is passionate about creating a better world. We welcome you to join us in our mission. Together, I believe that we can achieve more and better innovation and excellence for the next, moving forward. Thank you again to the Global Chamber team, and thank you all of the guests here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim. Mijong Hibbets is our Executive Director for Baltimore, Washington. Mijong, did you want to add anything, please?
Oh, thank you, Doug, for opportunity to speak a little bit here to really congratulate the KIC. I'm here in support of KIC. As we know, they are the global accelerator for Korean startups. And I know that the people, the staff, including Young Kim and Usab Lee and others, really working hard, travel back and forth in Korea and in here. But as Young just mentioned, a lot of the things what we do in international business or helping these startups, you just cannot do it alone. And we do need a lot of, the help and collaborations from many different, the sectors where you are. And then I think that we can create the really better, the systems or better network, for help to grow each other. So I really congratulate the KIC here. And also they have a great, the programs ahead this year. So encourage your attention, to what they do, and also, the reach out for any type of collaboration along the way. And really thank you for this recognition to KIC. Thank you.
Fantastic. And thank you, Mr. Kim, for recognizing diversity, equity, and inclusion in your statement of such an important aspect, and certainly something that all of us, especially from a global perspective, appreciate. We just need to keep moving forward and hopefully teaching our communities the value of that, not just because it's a good thing to do and it's kind and respectful, but it actually helps business to be innovative and to be smart and to be better. So thank you very much for bringing that up. We'll finish this piece of the program today with someone that I've known for many years, and he's a superstar in so many different levels. Alfredo Molina of Molina Fine Jewelers is not only an extraordinary leader who left Cuba as a refugee and ended up I've heard so many of his extraordinary stories over the year, how as refugees leaving Cuba and Florida, they ended up in Chicago in the winter with short sleeve shirts and shorts on, and through the kindness of someone was able to get warmer clothes and kind of move to the next level, and then built up very successful, extraordinary, one of the most successful jewelry businesses in the world in Phoenix, Arizona, on the corner of 32nd and Camelback near the financial district. And he also has all sorts of involvements, including being the longtime chair for the diplomatic corps for the state of Arizona. So Al Molina, no words can describe how extraordinary you are. Thank you for the collaboration. Thanks for all that you do. Would you like to make a statement, please?
Thank you, Doug. I was in New York for a week, and it got it was very cold in the evenings, and I now sound like it's not my name, but we'll keep it that way. I must say that America is a wonderful country, and by all means, I know we have a lot of challenges, but we are going to basically win, because that's what we do every day to try to make things for others. We support 300 plus charities. My grandfather always said, pass it forward, always pass it forward. And, we have been the 25th person in reference to what we've done. and we keep doing it every time. So it's really an honor. For the Doug, you do so much for so many, and I'm always honored to be with you and speak with you and to do things that we can do better and continue to do so.
Thank you so much. One of the charities that you're supporting is Doc Jones. And so the Arizona Jazz Festival's coming up. Doc is like the Energizer Bunny, right? It's like he's always moving, always making things happen. Often it's 2 or 3 in the morning. I get texts from him usually. So that's, I think, for the 29th and 30th. Is there anything that you'd like to share there? Because you guys are also collaborating on the Molina. You've got something that's labeled Molina, and I'm not exactly sure what it is that you're doing with Doc.
Well, Doc and I came up with having how can we have children, and it's the Molina School, and that was his idea, not mine. But you know how he is. He always does more than anyone I can imagine. He loves these kids. We have an organization in Cuba, and we have about 300 kids over the last 10, 15 years. And, it's the musical aspect of it. And these kids are amazing. And but Doc is no one can do more than Doc. He's an amazing guy.
I agree. He's on our Global Chamber Phoenix Advisory Board, and he's an extraordinary leader. So Dana, that brings us to the first segment where we'll take a break and take a pause and take a deep breath. I think maybe some of these people are new to you. What are some of your reactions and any questions that you may have?
Well, I know as your co-moderator, I'm not supposed to be speechless, but I'm so moved. I'm moved, guys. It's like there's a stirring in my soul. And to start off with James Wong, who just really set the tone, he set the pace for today, for what you're doing in commercial real estate and also with artificial intelligence. We're looking forward to see what comes next. And the beauty about Global Chamber, as each of you know, is that whenever you're traveling around the world, you've got a metro right there to support you that you can connect with, and you're not alone. So we look forward to coming out to your event. And so in the vein of how we started off today's Innovation and Excellence, we started it off in Spanish behind the scenes. So I'm going to recognize each of you in your primary language of choice. So we say to you, James Hong, Xie Xie. Okay, and moving on to Dr. Sarita Jackson. I held her book up earlier, International Trade and Service, Effective Practice and Policy. Yes, she is simply phenomenal. She was also a guest speaker, industry leader in terms of being an author to my 90 Days to Manuscript for the cohort that we just finished. You added such value and an inspiration, but really speaking to international trade from a strategic standpoint. And you mentioned something earlier too, Dr. Jackson, about grit being your name. And I said, that's a great name for your business, number one. And then creating a roadmap, but doing it slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. I'm going to come back to you to speak to that because I want to be mindful of time. And so to you that also speaks Spanish, muchísimas gracias para todo. And then we moved on to Suzuki Shen and Detroit and what you do and the service that you bring. And then here's my attempt at Japanese. I made one little faux pas yesterday. We had some guests out in the community. I do global health as well. And it's Spanish-speaking community predominantly, but we had a Japanese family that we were supporting too. And I don't know, I kept speaking to her in Spanish as if I spoke louder, she'd understand me. So I will say, domo arigato. And that may be with the Spanish accent, but not doing
that works. And Suzuki-san, he's in Tokyo, but we did have an interface about 20 years ago in Detroit. And so just an extraordinary leader there. So your pronunciation of Japanese to my ear was perfect. So congratulations.
Awesome. And so for those of you who were not on yesterday's Innovation and Excellence, I want to let you know that Doug made a commitment. And so I'm sharing it with you on this line so you can hold him accountable, that he's going to climb Mount Fuji, right,
Yep,
Doug?
we talked about that. Yep.
And
Yep.
I
In
want
the summertime, not the winter time for sure.
there's a few of us that's going to join you, and we can hopefully go through one of our global chamber members in Tokyo who has a travel agency. So to coordinate that for us, I'm a connector. So you'll see me just dropping names because we want to connect with all the resources here. And then we also have Korean Innovation Center with Young Kim and Lee, startup accelerators. There were so many things that we could speak to, but numbers really speak volumes, right? So I think without my glasses, I saw correctly, 861 million. Does that number ring a bell for you guys? And if so, how?
That's correct. And yeah, we have been, with the working with the several and the multiple, at the startup annually, and the lot of founders and innovators from Korea are very interested in participating our global tech startup ecosystem. So we were very, very lucky to work with them, and the all of the achievement and performance of the center is seamlessly linked with their performance. So we are going to move forward with them and for their success and achievement in the future as well.
Excellent. What you're doing on the innovator incubator side really ties into young global leaders, that component of Global Chamber. So we're hoping that you can, direct them this way. We have a program that's 10 months in duration and they get a certificate, but more importantly, they get connected to incredible business owners like you. And to you, each of you, we say, 감사합니다.
That's perfect.
And then, am I missing one? I tried to take a few notes, but
You missed Alfredo Molina, the
Yo,
refugee
no,
from Cuba. The
I got
amazing
Alfredo at the end, Alfredo Molina, he really just charged us up this morning behind the scenes when we were starting. And what we would say as women, that diamonds are girls' best friends. So thank you for bringing fine jewels to our access and to Arizona and what you're doing for the schools. I'm really interested in learning more about that and how we can support, and then being a diplomatic chair. And in the language of Celia Cruz, we'll say, Azuka. Thank you and congratulations to each of you.
As soon as I can get Global Chamber to be a little more successful, I'll be revisiting Molina Fine Jewelers. I remember the first time that I visited there and Alfredo took me around, and then his salespeople circled by. My wife, there were so many things that my wife was interested in, and they were all way above my pay grade. So someday I hope to be able to engage. And if you ever are in Phoenix, definitely visit Molina Fine Jewelers. It's the best in the world. And Mr. Molina, with his diplomatic work, and as he mentioned, over 300 charities that he gives to, is unparalleled. Thank you, Alfredo.
I'm wondering if he would design something for Global Chamber, those who want to buy a piece. And then I'll say I've spent some time in Cuba as well, in 2019, right before COVID. And it was an incredible experience.
We can do that. We can do that.
Yes. Thank you.
Do you make it back to Cuba very often?
Me? Why, 2 or 3 times a year. We do every 2-3 years. The kids are incredible though. The music, these little kids. I'll send you a wonderful group of kids, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to give these children an opportunity to have something.
What's your view of the next steps with Cuba? What do you think is going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years?
Cuba's in bad shape. People are not having their food. It's really destroying everything that Cuba was all about. And we're trying. We bring food. Well, we bring all kinds of things that they need.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need to do more and more and more everything every day.
What's
Yeah.
the way that we can help?
Well, I mean, we have a couple of different people that actually send large items, but they have to be very little because the government, if you give too much, the government gets it, and not the children and not the people for that as well.
That was my experience when I went to visit. I went for Dinner en Blanc, which was the first time they were hosting that in Cuba. So it was their inaugural event. And I also visited a local church there and took clothes for children. And they wanted to give these clothes to a newborn, even though they were for toddlers, because they didn't have access to gain these clothes when the child grew older. And so a friend that was following me, like 2 days later, I had her take clothes for infants. So the need is there. When we look at what a doctor makes, like $24 a month or less than $30 a month, or physical therapist. And yes, granted, they had free healthcare in terms of education too. They can't live. So you see healthcare providers doing other things in the tourism sector. So the need is there. But I did promise I would come back to Dr. Jackson and ask you about slow and steady. Let's do that really quick before we move on, if you don't mind. Would you expound on that a little bit, please?
Sure. Yeah. So I use that philosophy both for my own business and also with companies that I'm advising. So I'll just start with the clients, because when we talk about, for many of the small businesses, they try to move ahead, or at least with my experience, move so quickly. I want to export. I want to go into this market. I may know somebody in this market and I'm just going to get started. And they think that they overlook the piece, which is where I come in. First, understanding the market, doing the research, doing your due diligence, doing the homework about what are the opportunities in that market? How do I leverage what's happening politically, economically, the demographics, all of these different things. And then also what's happening internally within my own company. Do I really have, and that's why I mentioned the resources, the capabilities, and the capacity to expand overseas. So when I work with clients, as opposed to thinking, oh, we're going to be in a market next month and we're going to make all of this money. No, to really lay out a roadmap, and mine is usually at least a year and a half, so about 18 months to just get started and to build in that market if you're not already in a market overseas. And many of the clients that have embraced that ideology now find that very useful, because you save time. It might seem like a long time, but imagine how much time you're saving in the long run by getting that information up front versus making a lot of errors, costly errors, and then at the point you stop. And I do the same thing for my company, because as we all know nowadays, you can be an influencer and all of these things and make money overnight. But I just guess for me, it's put in the work, develop, enhance, and I'm okay taking a longer time because I believe in consistency. I want to be around for a long time, not just where I blow up and we don't know where we're going the next day. So that's where the slow and steady and the grit. So it stands for Global Research Institute of International Trade, but there was also a purpose, the grit, persistence, and determination, even when it comes to the global markets.
Well said. Thank you.
You know what that reminds me of a little bit, Dana, was our conversation last night with Catherine O'Connell. And she's the first woman foreigner in Japan to set up a law firm in Tokyo. And she did that 20 years ago. And there have been times where she questioned her sanity, like many of us who are entrepreneurs. It takes time. And so one of the words of wisdom she talked about was that businesses can be like a fruit tree, where the fruit comes last. And so sometimes we just have to be a little patient. And she was patient. And she talked about she has now been accepted to be on the board of trustees for the Toyota Motor Company. And so she originally is from New Zealand. Her mother's from Australia. She's been in Japan for over 20 years and extraordinarily successful. But she's been working hard, like Dr. Jackson mentioned, and patient. And now the fruit has come to fruition. So, thank you all.
Absolutely.
And that is Mount Fuji behind me, to remind us of that commitment, right? I've climbed Mount Fuji, but I want to do it a second time. And when I mentioned that last night, there were people that said, when you do that, we want to go with you. And it is really an experience of a lifetime. Certainly in the top 10 of my own experiences, and I highly recommend it.
Wow.
Let's go to Shalom Bako, who is someone who actually I met on Clubhouse. And I was so impressed with him on so many levels. First of all, his athleticism in being a soccer star, a football star, and then, and especially with Global Chamber, his exporting expertise. And he is not only the hibiscus king, exporting hibiscus from Nigeria and other spots within Africa to the US through Atlanta and through the port of LA, who was also an award winner yesterday. But also he is the sheikh of shea butter, as I understand it. And so Shalom, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you. I get a sense from some of your posts that you also can relate to the entrepreneurial spirit of the high times and the low times, but ultimately you are making progress and being successful with exporting. When I see those stacks of hibiscus in the warehouse, it's so impressive. Congratulations on all your hard work coming to bear. And thank you for being not only a member of Global Chamber, but now being an award winner for global excellence and innovation. Congratulations, Shalom Bako.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Dana. I feel honored, and I had just posted that it's you don't always do it for the accolades, but it is nice to be recognized. And as you mentioned, I've just been sharing this journey. I started quite young, leaving a soccer career to pursue this passion and dream of African continental distribution for African goods internationally. And so that's remained my passion. That's something I always speak about and always share, and do that transparently through my journey, and try to show what is possible, share what the challenges are, so that others can learn as well through that process. And so I feel honored. I've always, since joining the chamber, really, really enjoyed being part of this chamber. I see the great value in it, and I've been given great opportunities to speak as well, which I really appreciate, and have been refining my skills from speaking from Clubhouse to bigger stages. And so Global Chamber has definitely helped me with that, and I appreciate that, and the way that you have always pushed and encouraged and shared the things that I am doing, and that's been a great help. So I truly appreciate being part of the chamber. I truly appreciate and enjoy all the members that I get to engage with in Atlanta and LA and Accra, and just seeing how big the community is. And it actually really encourages me to really see how far we can spread. And to Dr. Sarita Jackson's point, slow and steady, focusing on one market and really doing the research for years on the American market, from my experience, and then learning the opportunities and starting to tap into that is something that I've really enjoyed and look forward to growing furthermore. And so, in what we're currently doing in Afrivana, it's really been focused on marketing what Africa has to offer, but further than that, also creating a platform for distribution, which is what we do. So beyond just distributing hibiscus flowers and shea butter, which I frankly use as a marketing tool to just really share and expand into other cultures, because hibiscus is universally known. We just use it in many and call it different names in all our different cultures. And so it's just been a marketing tool to really, in many ways, get my foot in the door, to spark conversation, and then be able to share many things that we can distribute from Africa and be a valid and reliable source for anyone trying to do business in Africa or with Africa. So thank you again for the opportunity, and I'm honored to receive this award. Thank you.
Congratulations on the success. Hibiscus is doing well.
It is. It's doing great.
And as Dana knows, it's great. It's a great tea. We were talking in, you were talking all in Spanish earlier, but I had the hibiscus tea that I forget the name of what it's called. What is that? It's called, Dana?
Jamaica.
Jamaica, sorrel.
But when we were
Yeah.
talking about that the last time, I happened to be in Tucson and I had dinner and I had this Jamaica with hibiscus. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so good. And that might be actually a good bridge to our next awardee. And that is the National Law Center in Tucson. That was actually the night that we did the Grow Globally Fair in Tucson, and it was hosted by the National Law Center. So this is one of those things that not enough people know about, but the impact of the National Law Center in, of all places, Tucson, Arizona, with is extraordinary. They do work all over the world, and you don't necessarily, and I hadn't thought about this, but to be able to do trade, you need systems. You need to be able to recognize money transfers and commercial techniques and processes, and the National Law Center sets up those processes and the legal aspects of actually the nuts and bolts of doing trade. And they do it in dozens of countries all over the world. They've been doing it for decades. It's the brainchild of Boris Kosolchik. It's now named the Kosolchik National Law Center. Boris actually attended that event a month or two ago. I think he's 92 years old. He's still alive and vital, very energetic, and an incredible inspiration for the National Law Center. So Ignacio de Leon is here to say a few words about the award. I can't say enough about what you guys do. And so when we made the connection to that Armenian member and the work that they do on the IT side, and to see you now working with them and with Thunderbird and others, it's just so exciting that your progress is moving forward. I love, Ignacio, that you've come in now and transformed the National Law Center to be successful at the next level as well. And also, I think this week was National Nonprofit Day. We were talking about that with Alfredo Molina. I believe you're a nonprofit, and so you hopefully benefited from that nonprofit day. Congratulations on all that you do around the world. The National Law Center, Ignacio de Leon, what would you like to say, please?
Thank you, Doug. And first of all, let me say that we're humbled by this award, the Innovation and Excellence Award. I would also like to make a recognition to Global Chambers for helping us find the right partners. As you just said a moment ago, you've been instrumental for our own success, and I think that this is something we would like to emphasize. The philosophy of the National Law Center rests on a very straightforward or simple idea, that inventions are everywhere, are very democratic, but innovations are not necessarily so. You need, as Doug mentioned a moment ago, you need systems in place, you need a generation of opportunities, and sometimes legal rules create barriers for this to happen. So basically, the work of the National Law Center over the course of its existence, and we've been in the market for 30 years already, it's been to detect those barriers, identify what bottlenecks exist in the process of conducting free trade, so that free trade effectively can happen. And for that reason, I feel that we fulfill an important role in the area of international development. We work closely with the multilateral agencies. Our focus, regional focus, is in Latin America and the Caribbean, but we have done extensive work in other regions as well, in three major areas. First of all, secure lending and financial inclusion. And now we are extending into two more areas, protection and commercialization of intellectual property rights, including digital assets. And finally, digital justice, which is the area that we are currently developing the most. We are having projects in Ecuador, Colombia, and Brazil for the implementation of digital justice solutions, enabling empowering women in danger and on family matters, for instance, and commercial insolvency. So we could try to cover a pretty wide space of things. And we're very happy with the possibilities that this could open in the midst of this digital economy that we live in. So thank you very much, really, and we look forward to work with all of you. Finally, I'd like to say that it's a pleasure to see such a talented group represented here. We definitely look forward to work with you at some point. And thank you very much again.
Fantastic. I think we have one more awardee, and then there's a couple people, Dana, I'd like to finish up to make a comment. Hopefully Susan Lindner can stay on for just a couple minutes. We're going to try to finish up at the top of the hour, and I'd love to hear your take of all of this, Susan. And also I think Bindu Latha, if you would like to say a couple words. You basically accepted the award yesterday, but would love to hear from you today. It looks like you're prepared, and sorry we jumped the gun yesterday. The last awardee today is Fernando Ceballos of FNC Consulting at Mexico City, and he's on our Global Chamber Los Angeles Advisory Board. They're doing a lot of work all across the US in the area of technology and cybersecurity, and it's such an important segment right now in the world. And Fernando, your work is just extraordinarily important, despite the fact that you're a Los Angeles Dodgers fan. We debated over that a little bit, but nonetheless, because of your work, we decided to give you this award for global excellence and innovation. Congratulations, and would you like to say a few words, please?
Wait, my boxer got excited here. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Greetings from Mexico City. I just want to tell a little story. And when there was a guy, a little boy, when he was finishing high school, and basically he wasn't good at physics, and basically most of the classmates did not like the subject either. And suddenly some of the classmates and their parents decided to give a blue label whiskey to the professor so they can be more light on grading the exams, the final exams to graduate high school. And guess who did not accept that? That was me when I was 17 years old and decided not to pursue that path, and decided why I need to bribe or give someone something in order to get something in exchange. And that's where I realized that what is in my heart and what is in my passion. Suddenly my career during the Big Fours and becoming a partner working overseas for the last 20 years has been a blessing in my life. But that episode really marked my life in terms of what I would like to specialize. And basically what we started 7 years ago with FNC Consulting Group, after going around the world and having this global footprint today, we operate in 16 countries. We are 30 plus consultants. And we founded this ethics and compliance, forensic investigations and compliance firm from Mexico City to the world, which means that it is a blessing because we are the only firm that is specialized, that is located in this part of the world, that has operations in the US and has operations overseas in all the 5 continents, and so including all Latin America. So when you talk about bribery and corruption, we talk about elevating the integrity culture of people to transform the business world. It's a huge dream. It's a huge thing that we want to do as a firm, and we want to make sure that every single company that is represented here and works worldwide, especially in emerging markets, we know how to deal with the risk. We know how to navigate with those risks, and we know basically how how bad and how hurtful could be involved in some scandals on some reputational issues that may impact your organizations. So with that said, I'm very honored. I'm very flat. I mean, I'm very honored. I'm very blessed to receive this award because, as I say to the team, we're making history, and I think making history to transform the world through ethics, integrity, and pushing forward an agenda that is sometimes people hear you and they treat you as a fool in this part of the world, but definitely, it's something that is in our heart. It started in my heart many years ago. And even though I didn't know that I will get specialized in this subject, but you know, the timing and things that are aligning together, and there's a perfect plan out there that we're still accomplishing, and I'm very honored to be in this group. I'm more than receiving an award among these amazing companies and people, is that every single of us, we're doing something different and contributing to what the main global chamber goal is, right? Be global. So thank you, Doug, for opening the doors. Thank you, Dana, for hosting this. And we are pretty sure that we'll be working together soon, and we'll be meeting in person soon as well. Take care.
What a way to drop the mic. Amazing.
Yes.
Well, just nothing to say after that. You're extraordinary. Thank you very much. Susan Lindner, do you have any reaction? Have you been able to listen here, and do you have any thoughts? Susan works in innovation. She helps companies communicate innovation. Any reaction that you have based on what you've seen today?
You have some amazing storytellers in the group. It was so nice to hear Fernando's story back from age 17, all the way from the DF. So like fantastic to hear these stories. And, you know, it's just so encouraging and revitalizing, I think, for all of us to hear these stories of innovation, to go from, you know, hibiscus all the way to risk management and everything in between. So thank you for the opportunity. It's, you know, I just want to encourage everyone to continue to tell your stories around innovation and how you are game changers and catalysts in your respective fields. It's what everyone else needs to hear. And we can't just keep these stories to ourselves. We need to keep telling them. So I encourage you to go forth and tell your amazing stories.
And you have
and by the way, Doug, I was born and raised in Ecuador. So I'm a Mexican by adoption more than that.
Gosh.
Okay, very, very good. Bindu Latha, I just wanted to get to you. You accepted your award yesterday with Elite Tech Systems. Is there anything else that you wanted to add from yesterday?
Yeah, of course. I actually, back home, I'm from small town, Khammam, and I born in Warangal. I'm native of India. And here in Kansas City is our main company is here. And we are collaborated with the different states and as well different countries at this point. And we are self-certified, and we are certified in all certifications to do the business. And we are glad to celebrate and collaborate with all global chamber entrepreneurs or investors or investments for any kind of opportunities. And as well, the company was started like a couple of decades ago. And the Elite Tech Solutions was so privileged and honored to accept this award. It's a great honor to be part of all awardees today. And especially, we want to mention these areas. We started like this company for the informational technology, which helps to clients to grow and solve and to make more business and more money. It's the youth empowerment, which I mentioned yesterday. And the company is collaborated and merged into different entities at this point, like channels of communications that creates the information technology as well the scientific, technical, financial, institutional, and different collaborations at this point. And the company growth success is the youth empowerment, and especially we empower the women from this company from last decades, and a lot of students youth empowerment. And with other companies and the business also, we expanded into the real estate. We do the EB5, EB2, export, import, as well. We do the investment in other countries also. If anyone is interested, we're allowed to collaborate and work with you. And this company is like International Entrepreneur Awardee, Stevie Awardee, American Awardee company. So please let us know if anything we can help Elitech Solutions. And my youth want to say hello to all of you.
Hello. Thank you so much. Good to see you all.
I'd like to tell you something, that this global company is looking forward to collaborate wherever we can help, so that we can make all the groups to get united, so that we can make this world to grow with our youth power.
Thank you, Doug and the team for selecting our company, and we are privileged and honored to be part. And we had like a couple of meetings through Global Chamber. So we are working to build a relation, and we make the world to see the difference. And we rock all. Thank you so much.
Keep making an impact. That's amazing. That's a great way to finish it up. So we're at the end of the program, but we are going to continue to go. So if you need to be excused, please, don't be shy. But if you can hang on, that would be awesome, because I'd love to hear, Dana, from you. I'd love to hear from any of you to open your mic and make any comments or thoughts, and certainly post anything that you have in the chat area. We do save the chat, and we do look for any comments and contacts. So please feel free to connect up with each other through the chat, through LinkedIn, or however you'd like to do it. So that's pretty much the end of the program, I think. But we're now just going to have kind of a after show, if you will. And Dana, could you kick that off? What reactions do you have? What would you like to share?
Happy to kick that off here from Atlanta, Georgia, but where we are experiencing the true benefits of spring, and wishing the same for the rest of the nation soon. But what I notice is a common thread, Doug, throughout all of the awardees today, is they show up with a servant's heart, looking for a problem that they can find a solution. And one quote that I try to live by expresses it really well, by Chikori. And he says, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and I behold that service is joy." So when you do what each of you are doing from your heart of service, finding a solution, it's joy. And what makes it even better is that we have this platform, this tribe, this community called Global Chamber, in which we can do it. And I also notice a common thread too is really our core values for Global Chamber. Transparency, integrity, honesty, kindness, business, a return on business. What we're doing is we want to do it for an inclusivity. All of that you all share in common, but it doesn't surprise us, because we attract what we radiate, and that's what our CEO and founder, Doug Runke, is radiating. And so he's attracting that tribe. Bring others that we can support, that can become a part of this tribe, because as you heard, and as Susan Linder mentioned, being a teller of your story, is important. Being true to yourself, and me helping people to tell that story in written form is another reward, because that's a service is joy. So congratulations to every one of you, and service truly is joy.
It absolutely is. What comments does anybody have? Just open your mic and please feel free to go ahead. Hey, Rigo, I'll see you at Thunderbird on Friday for lunch. That's tomorrow.
Yes, that's tomorrow. But I just wanted to comment to everybody there that I was just recently in Venezuela for 5 months, and Doug and Cesar were there for me, backing me up with the projects that I'm handling, and it's great to feel and belong to this organization. Doug, thank you for your help. Thank you, Cesar, and let's move on. Let's continue the successes.
the Venezuela, Al Molina was talking earlier about the challenges in Cuba. So many times the leaders of these countries, including the U.S., not now, but the previous, supposed president, created a lot of problems. And, these are fortunately temporary, right? Time moves forward and good people move things forward ahead. And so Dana, what I tapped into what you said is, people with good hearts and good values will ultimately win. Unfortunately, like in Venezuela right now, there's some real challenges. So Rico, thank you for the work that you're doing, because business can help transform that. Yesterday, one of our awardees is Satluj Networks. It's actually a bit of an extraordinary leader, again in Phoenix, Tony Mangat, who is one of the wealthiest Indian-born people in the United States, and he's got multiple businesses, and he's building a cricket stadium and west of Phoenix, world-class cricket stadium. He's good and he's crazy in a good way, but he's very devoted and dedicated to getting truth out in the media, and he's building a media station in Glendale, Arizona. Go figure. So Dana, to build on what you said, everybody that I heard here, including Fernando, to finish up in such an eloquent way, talking about the value of ethics and the principles that we all believe in. There's not only nothing wrong with that, it's amazing that people then take the challenge and do something about it rather than retire or ignore it and work on other things and just for a paycheck. Fernando,
Yeah.
What you talked about and what most of you talked about is at a higher level. So congratulations on that. That's the extraordinary that I talked about in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. What's amazing too is that we find that many of these people pivoted or started their business or expanded their businesses during COVID. So they didn't let something like a setback. I love quotes, but a setback is really a setup for a comeback. It's how we choose to maneuver in it. And I see we have Dwayne and Stephanie on it. These are people that move through setbacks well, and they come back telling their stories, writing these books, influencing businesses. This is the tribe we have here. And Baco talked about his business, but really, shea butter and hibiscus is what you see at the forefront, but really it's a platform for distribution. So he's really international trade, setting it up for not just Nigeria, but for other countries in the continent and elsewhere. And we have access to all of this right here in this family and this tribe. Let's keep it going. Global and unstoppable.
And Monica's on the line too. She's going to be an award winner. Tomorrow's program, we have our final 5 out of 5, and we're going to be recognizing the Global Chamber internal team around the world. And Monica, you'll be one of the ones that's awarded there. It's on LinkedIn audio, if any, same time as this program today. So we're encouraging our team to join. She's our board chair for San Antonio, Global Chamber San Antonio. Thanks, Monica, from your Czech Republic background now to being a leader in the state of Texas. Anybody else have comments, please?
Hey, this is Stephanie, and I have a comment. So I jumped on, I'm at the Slovenia conference, and this was born, a global chamber, a relationship. And so today I'm here at the conference, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing the award ceremony. I wanted to be on because these connections are so great. I would have never met anyone from Slovenia had I not been a part of Global Chamber. And so I appreciate all that people are doing, the awards that you all are doing, and there's great things that continue coming, and I want to watch you all soar. And watch out, here I come 2023.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stephanie. Absolutely.
Well,
the world keeps getting smaller with Global Chamber. That's all I could say.
It's so important, and we're continuing to set up success for all of you as well. Reach out along the way. If again tomorrow same time on LinkedIn audio. Any other comments? And if not,
I need a connection in Egypt. I'm just putting that out there. I'm going there next month. So any connections in Egypt, let me know, guys.
the San Antonio team knows a dedicated person there, and Lily, who's extraordinary. And then of course we have folks, so Cesar can help. Oh, Cesar's back. Oh, hey Cesar, I'm sorry. I think you might have disappeared.
I got power problems here. We got stormy weather now, so but I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
So everybody knows Cesar Trabanco. Would you like to make the closing comments, please?
Yeah, sure. No, I would just like to add that it's always a pleasure working with all of you guys, and just want to congratulate you for the awards. And just to let you know, I'm always available for anything you need, and happy to help and continue on the global growth and process. So thank you.
Cesar is located in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and that's really our connection center. So Cesar recently had his third child, so you have a little bit of tired eyes, and also he's a little bit under the weather as well. So thanks for jumping in today.
My pleasure. And it was great
Thank
to hear a little bit of Cuba, as my family is from Cuba, Alfredo. So that's something that we always have in our hearts, and always looking for some progress. Sooner or later, hoping for it to be sooner, to be honest. But
Absolutely.
but it was
Absolutely.
great to hear about your story as well.
I've said this on our previous award recognitions, and I want to just bring up our CEO, Doug Brunke, our Vice President, Cesar Trabanco, for them to do what they do, and to do it with ease, grace, professionalism, and style. If we could give an award to you all, it would be for that. So if you would have the intern do a certificate, and each of you sign it for one another and hang it on your walls, we're celebrating you and your leadership as well. Thank you.
And one way to finish this meeting, I think, would be as we started in Spanish. And what I'd like to finish with, Cesar, when you came on, it reminded me of this. But whatever station we're watching, they're advertising a new program by John Leguizamo that talks about the Latino experience. And one thing he says right at the end of the commercial made me think of you, and also when you guys were talking in Spanish earlier. He says, we're doing this program so that everybody wants to be Latino. And the way the commercial lays out, there's the food and the dance and the families and the joy, and that's really kind of what we want to do at Global Chamber, period. But John Leguizamo does it really well. So let's all be Latino. Thanks, everybody.
Sounds like a plan. Gracias.
Gracias.
Take care. Gracias.
Ciao.
Have a great
Ciao.
week.
Meet you all. Take care.